The Connecticut Intelligence Center, known as CTIC, serves as a hub for local, state, and federal law enforcement agencies to communicate with each other. After 9/11, CTIC was one of the many fusion centers established across the country. A fusion center allows law enforcement agencies to share resources, expertise, and information to better detect criminal and terrorist activity. While CTIC's duties have evolved over the last 20 years, its core purpose remains the same. I spoke with CTIC's director, Alvin Schwapp Jr., about what he sees the center's role being in the modern day. Give us a brief history of why the center was actually created and what has been its evolution since its inception.
The failings of what happened and what brought about September 11th, right? And a thumbnail sketch of it, it basically boils down to there was a lack of communication amongst our law enforcement agencies. So as a result of that matter, DHS was formed and fusion centers were stood up throughout the country to ensure that effective communication is always had between all aspects of law enforcement. So that's the history as to how we came about as a fusion center here in Connecticut. And so we've been in existence now for over 20 years. And in terms of an evolution, each fusion center started out first and foremost with an eye on the external threat of terrorism to our nation, and but has since evolved to deal with crimes within communities and within the state, as well as internal or domestic threat type concerns that may exist.
What does a current terrorist threat look like in the modern day? So when we're talking about terroristic threats, what comes to your mind?
Well, what comes to my mind is anything that would change a mindset of our populace so they are in fear of doing things that are a normal part of our American way of life, right? So we can talk about anything from impacting someone's right to vote, or impacting someone's energy supply, or ability to communicate across the internet, or actual physical threat at a public arena.
There probably is a lot that keeps you up at night based on what you just told me. But if you really had to form it into just one thing, what is it that keeps you up at night as far as possible terrorist threat to Connecticut?
As we learned through what happened at 9/11, we cannot limit our imagination or focus on one thing, because who would have thought of taking airliners and going into two sky rises, right? So we learned to basically just stay focused on the mission of keeping the homeland safe, and we do that by understanding that what potential vulnerabilities and gaps are, and trying to mitigate that with effective measures to reduce certain threats. So, and as a fusion center, we are ones that will help communities and at different levels try to mitigate and become aware of certain threats, and we're conduits to resources to get after those as well. But we have a lot of federal partners that assist us in what we do. This is by no means a CTIC only endeavor. We're very much partnership centric.
What are the current initiatives that you have as the director right now?
Well, right now, my biggest focus is making sure that that CTIC, as it exists now, and all its capabilities, is a known entity within law enforcement of Connecticut, because right now, quite frankly, we are not. And because we are not, there's a lot of agencies that may not be in have full benefit of using us as a force multiplier to their investigations. And that's what we're here for. We're here to ensure the successful completion of all investigations that we can. And the only way we can do that is having our capabilities known to local law enforcement. That we're all in this fight together to ensure the safety of Connecticut. And the way fusion centers function throughout the United States is we're most effective when we have the public's involvement in helping us to understand what possible concerns may exist by community. So, and we call that receiving suspicious activity reports, or SARS. And we have a mechanism to receive that immediately right here to CTIC by use of an app called the CT Safe app. And everyone can find it on their phone, and they can submit any type of concerns that they may see. They can do it anonymously, or by sharing their identity, and by going on that app and just identifying what is a concern to them as a possible suspicious circumstance. It may be something that will lead to a better understanding and be the final piece of a puzzle to ensure that a tremendous threat does not impact us as a state.
Reporting for CT News Junkie, I'm Adam Chiara.